170 murders, 528 overdose deaths in Louisville last year. Now, Louisville is not that big, and a year is not that long for all of this mayhem to have taken place. That doesn't even count the abortions. Doesn't count the suicides, the divorces, the crime. But I don't have to tell you things are bad, okay? We know they're bad. How do we know? Let me explain. When I had my 7th and most severe stroke, it took me 4.5 years to learn how to walk again, to learn how to dress myself and bathe myself. And as time went by and I got better at it, I became fascinated with the way the brain works. Not necessarily the mechanics of the brain, but the practical applications. For instance, when we walk, our brain is constantly taking inventory of everything in our surroundings and measuring it, sending back the information to us. Hey, the door in the back of the room, 42 feet away. I take a step, door in the back of the room, 39 feet away. Another step, door in the back of the room. How tall is the ceiling? How wide is this room? How many people are in here? Who's moving? We pick it up constantly. Our brain does that for us. They call it the beta state. I don't know why they call it. Seems like they call it the alpha state, but the alpha state is when you're starting to kick back in the chair and grab the Doritos or whatever. But the brain is fascinating, okay? And Scripture is fascinating. Now let me tell you what I've learned from my study of these two things. The Bible was written 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. They had to take an abstract concept, spirituality, deity. They had to make it practical to a society that was agrarian, illiterate. How did they do this? They extended metaphors. They used allegory. They took what they understood and showed it against what they didn't understand, brought them together, okay? For instance, January sucks. February sucks. But they don't suck the same way 170 murders suck. They suck in the fact that it's cold. Our skin is like paper. Our nails are like potato chips. They break apart. Our hair is like straw. It can crack. But it's necessary. It's not evil. You know, a tree in the wintertime does its most important work. We see a tree, we think, oh, it's just laying there. The roots are beneath the permafrost and they're working their tail end off, growing deeper, seeking out water and nutrients to keep the rest of it alive. It's not evil. We need to learn how to separate good from evil, okay? We focus on the good and we nurture it. The evil, well, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. That's a simple, short passage from probably the most difficult book in the New Testament. It's Paul's masterpiece. It's called Romans. It'll take you about an hour and 10 minutes to read it. Boy, you better have your thinking cap on if you're going to read this thing, because it is wicked, babe. Not wicked like that, wicked like, I mean, it is tough. When I started to understand it, is when I started realizing every single line in this book is a thesis sentence. Every single line in this magnum opus, this masterpiece, this guy that wrote 13 of the 27 books of the New Testament, this is him on his absolute A game. We take the simple little line, Romans 12:21, and that's all we need to take over this whole big horrible time of year. January, come on. It's dark every day at 4:30. It's overcast, it's cold. What do you got? Who's the Super Bowl? What do you got? The Oscars? What do you got? Oh, the new season of my TV show's coming up. What do you got? You got nothing as far as that stuff's concerned. What do you got as far as the good stuff's concerned? You've got the opportunity to grow stronger. A river growing by a rolling stream lives longer. Why? It's got easy access to water. Let God be your rolling stream next to you and with you. See, we are in the deepest part right now. I do October 31st, Halloween to Easter Sunday. That's how my ministry works. Half on, half off. This is when we're on. This is when it's tough. Let me tell you something. If you know a drug addict and you don't know about being a drug addict, right now is the hardest part of their year. January and February. I promise you it is. I've got my guesses as to why that is, but let me tell you something. I promise you it is. There's hopelessness. Paul wrote a book about hope. He wrote several actually, but Romans, it's about the law. It's about the Jew and the Gentile. It's about the gospel. But most importantly, it's about hope. How do you get that hope? You overcome evil with good. Now next week, we're a little bit closer to halfway. 2 weeks, we're going to be halfway. Then we start crawling back up out of the hole. I hope you'll be here to join me.